The National Park Service has released its inventory of all that was lost in a devastating fire at its headquarters in Shanksville earlier this month, and it is just as bad as originally feared.
Original photos and artifacts from the crashed site, along with hundreds of mementos left behind by visitors, all lost when the buildings went up in flames. This is video from October 3rd. A fire marshal says the damage was so extensive, it's likely they will never be able to determine a cause. Fortunately, no one was hurt, and everything lost was less than 10% of the total collection saved, much of which is being housed in a high-security facility in Pittsburgh. Still an incredible loss for friends and family of the victims, and really for all of America. Maria Miller has much more for us tonight. Maria?
Well, Marty and Jen, the best news to report tonight is that while hundreds of original photographs were destroyed in that fire, digital copies were saved, as were the audio recordings of phone calls made by passengers in their final moments. But as you said, hundreds of other original artifacts that have been preserved now for more than 13 years were destroyed in an instant. It was more sad news from a place that's already left such national heartache. The headquarters of the Flight 93 National Memorial engulfed in flames, trapped inside original photos and artifacts, each one with their own story.
Things that are being processed, things that were just left here, or right now, we're working on the visitor center, and so we had a number of items there that were being readied for a visit by exhibit fabricators. Actually, this week they were supposed to be here.
On Friday, the National Park Service released its official inventory of all that was lost. 334 original photos, 25 personal items from passengers and crew members, as well as more than 100 visitor tributes and items donated by the first responders and investigators on scene just hours after the crash.
It's a devastating loss. I mean, these are important pieces to people understanding that story. And the family members, people who've donated things to us have been incredibly gracious and understanding. But for all of us, it's a significant loss.
I hope, some of the photographs can be replaced, because it's really important, not just for the people that were in America that day, but for people, children, grandchildren coming up through. This is a big event for us, and it's sad to lose things like that.
Family members of the victims agree, saying, quote, "For many of us, the fire represents a wrenching second loss, but that cannot deter us. Indeed, it must push us forward toward completion of the memorial so that those on board and their collective actions will stand to inspire future generations." Now, as Jen said earlier, while the investigation into the cause of that fire is still ongoing, a fire marshal said last week that it is highly unlikely that a cause will ever be determined due to the extent of the damage. Now, the Park Service is obviously devastated by the loss of the items announced today, but said they are extremely grateful that no one was injured. Reporting live, Maria Miller, 6 News.